Hello again, everyone. Zagatech is here with my WWE Raw review for the night, Monday, March 18th, 2013. Mixed bag tonight for Raw. Probably, by my mind, one of the weakest Raws I've seen in most recent history. Even almost as bad as the Raw 20th. Let me say this. Tonight's Raw proved why Raw should not be a 3-hour show. First hour, sucked it. I'll still talk about it, but still, waste of a first hour. Second and third hour was great. The main event was great. Probably one of the best main event matches I've seen on Raw. Not as good as Cena Punk recently, but still probably one of the best Raw main events this year. And of course, we have the whole Triple H Brock Lesnar thing. A new name added to the Hall of Fame class of 2013, which may make a lot of heads roll, positive and negative. And the crowd in Pittsburgh, well, they ain't taking no shit. Especially a bunch of bullshit involving a guy who rhymes with mine, fail, goal. Alright, let's kick things off Raw tonight with John Cena. Now, of course, The Rock is not on Raw again tonight. He was not on Raw again tonight. He will be in Philadelphia tomorrow night, next week, I meant to say. So Cena came out talking about, blah, 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 blah. Fans love me, fans hate me. I'm going to be The Rock at WrestleMania. It's been a year of redemption for me. I want redemption. I'm going to be the new WWE champion. Blah, 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 blah. The time is now. My time is now. Your time is up. Rock, blah, 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 blah. And as Cena was going on about this whole match with Rock, here comes the PTP, Primetime Players. Well, Darren Young came out with Titus O'Neil, who was dressing up like his alter ego, I should say. Uncle Pancake Patterson. Now, if you missed Raw Active on the WWE app last week, there was a skit involving Titus O'Neil dressed up like his uncle, as he says. And also, I think Darren Young also dressed up like his uncle, too. So they're both playing the uncles of themselves. And that was kind of funny. The skit tonight was, although they get as slammed by Cole and King as the skit involving Jericho, Brad Maddox, Barrett, and Miz did last week, they comment a little bit. It was kind of a funny skit with this Pancake Patterson. It was kind of funny with his sayings. I love Part-Time Players, but I've said it before on my Raw reviews before. I'm a big fan of their work. They're a great entertaining team. I wish they would have got a bigger build, a bigger push, but I hope they can get a bigger push, even though they're feuding with, talking about John Cena, of all people. So they were going through this funny skit. Darren Young won, faced Cena for the 1,000th time, because Darren Young faced Cena, whether as a member of PTP or as a member of Nexus. I did see a Nexus shirt being worn in the front row, I think, by a young kid. Anyway, so Darren Young, John Cena to kick off tonight's Raw. And John Cena and Darren Young would dictate what the first hour was going to be. Squash Fest. That was the first hour. Squash Fest. Cena, 5 moves to do, wasn't 6, wasn't a powerbomb, there was no Hurricanrana. I think it's the first match we've seen Cena in since the match with him and Punk a few weeks ago. So Cena did always use moves. I think that, like I said, they're trying to save Cena up, trying to make him use a lot of energy, make him risk getting injured before Mania. So it's kind of a quick match. Darren Young had mostly lack of offense, despite a little help from Pancake. Well, like I said, that was funny. Probably one of the few things that was actually pretty good about Raw, and it was that funny segment, of course, involving another segment involving CM Punk tonight, which I'll get to in a moment. Cena got the FU, STF, all that stuff. He didn't get the STF though, but he got the FU on Darren, and of course the 1, 2, 3 victory for John Cena coming in to, of course, WrestleMania against The Rock. Now on to the next match with Build Up Mania match. I hate the way to do this. I'll talk about it in a moment. We had Ryback against Mark Henry this past Friday on SmackDown. I knew they were going to have some sort of screwy ending, which would lead to Ryback and Mark Henry at Mania. But the fact they had already advertised Ryback to team up with Randy Orton and Sheamus against The Shield makes it more interesting about how they're going to take Ryback out of this match and put him in a match with Mark Henry. Well, they waited in it, was doing this matchup. Ryback, Goldberg, what you want to call him, taking on David Otunga. Despite Otunga having the number 2 move in America, as I mentioned in my tackling today, with the call being number 2, beating but Wonderstone, Ryback Didn't care if he was in a movie with Halle Berry or not. Ryback wanted to get himself fed. Feed him more indeed. Basically another squash. Like I said, squash fest started by Cena. Ryback continued the squashing with a terrible squash of Otunga. Cut the meat hook clothesline, and of course, the shell shock and 1-2-3 victory for Ryback. He wanted his Shield in this matchup. He still wanted Mark Henry. He said their paths will cross eventually. Well, their paths did crash, as indeed, paths did cross, should I say, as Mark Henry came out with Vicky Guerrero and Booker T holding him back. Vicky Guerrero said that she was taking Ryback out of the six-man tag and putting him against Mark Henry. Now, the way they did that was stupid. Like, they were just taking him out. They already advertised Ryback to be in the six-man tag, yet they instantly put him out against Mark Henry. The way they made Mark Henry Ryback tonight was kind of stupid. I knew they were going to make Mark Henry Ryback. I knew they were building it up. But the way they did it, with having Ryback in a match, then taking him out of the match to make him be against Mark Henry, that was kind of a stupid way to do it. But whether or not the way they did it was stupid or not, Ryback will take on Mark Henry at the pay-per-view at WrestleMania. And Ryback delivered another shell shock to Otunga to send a message through to Mark Henry. So they go Ryback, Mark Henry, Mania. It'll probably be like a short match. And Ryback, I don't think he's going to beat Hook Mark Henry. You know, I know John Cena's after Big Show. Sheamus has delivered white noise to Big Show. Basically, any move involving a giant basically involved the Big Show. I know Mark Henry. I think Mark Henry has been tombstone by Taker. So, if any of those guys can do that to Mark Henry, who knows? Maybe Ryback can. He can indeed. Shell shock Mark Henry. We'll see. Time will tell. So you go. Ryback defeats Stephen Otunga. And of course, Mark Henry, Ryback signed. Now on to our next segment, which involved, I got a new name for this guy. Especially from the way he's been fucking with us, trolling us. I don't care if it's storyline or not, or whether it's WWE's way of not making him debut so he can fire his ass. My new name for this guy is Fail Goal. I'm sorry, he's an epic fail. The way he's been delaying his debut for people not pronouncing his name right. Like I said, I don't care what is behind it, whether it's storyline reasoning or whether it's real backstage heat on Fandango. I don't care what the reason is. This shtick is getting fucking old. And also tonight we saw Fandango kind of tease a match with Jericho. That was kind of funny though. Jericho owned Fandango. So Fandango and Jericho, if that match does happen at Mania, it'd be kind of stupid, especially if Fandango doesn't wrestle. You know, I love the fans of Pittsburgh. I love they hate him though. Kind of a weird crowd tonight. They said, you can't wrestle and who cares to Fandango. Even they're sick and tired of Fandango fucking doing this to the WWE fans, whether it's storyline or not. So Fandango once again delays his debut. And like I said before, I'll say it again. I will not be surprised if by Mania or after Mania, we will see this on WWE's website. WWE wishes Fandango / Johnny, whatever his name is, real name, as we wish him the best in his future endeavors. He'll be wearing a future endeavor shirt soon, so there you go. Fail Go, as I call him now, because he's an epic fucking fail. And teasing a feud with Jericho. I love Jericho, but Fandango, the guy who can't fucking wrestle, the guy who hasn't done anything yet, still, who knows? Now after that little bullshit shenanigans, we got another bullshit shenanigan involving Old Truth against Deviant Sandow. Now I thought they would have some sort of match in Mania, whether it's Sandow and Cody against Truth and Kofi, but that ain't happening. So they had a one-on-one match between Truth and Sandow. Of course, Sandow, like I mentioned, the seed was planning for a possible Mania match with Sandow attacking Kofi, and All Truth came out to help him like 4 weeks ago. So now All Truth and Sandow had a match. It may set up for a one-on-one match in Mania, eventually, between these two. Or the aforementioned tag match I kind of predicted involving Kofi and Truth and Sandow and Cody. All Truth was dominant over Sandow. Sandow had some good offense at the beginning, delivering an elbow to stay, but of course Truth was flying colors. He delivered a lie detector, kind of a botched ending to that. Botched lie detector in my mind. But as Truth was ready to go for the kill, Sandow went out of the ring, got himself counted out. Kind of a weird way to end the first hour of War. Like I said, the first hour of War is stupid. 2 squashes, a failed debut again, and a countout. Wow, like I said earlier about this being the worst 3-hour Raw in a while, the first hour doesn't even fucking exist. Shouldn't even exist. You know, it shouldn't be 3 hours. Especially seeing the first hour was such shit. Now on to the second hour. Probably when Raw really got cooking in the second hour of Raw, which involved, of course, The Undertaker kicking things off. Talking about Punk delivering back the arm. Of course, I've said it last week and I'll say it again. It feels weird that WWE is exploiting Paul Bearer's death. I keep saying Heyman from time to time, but anyway. Paul Bearer exploiting his death, making fun of him. You know, the Uns, David Punk interrupting the tribute. And once again tonight, as Taker was trying to call out Punk to deliver back the urn, Punk made fun of Paul Bearer's voice. Now, like I said, despite my claims about, you know, how WWE is exploiting Paul Bearer's death. I keep saying Heyman, sorry. Tips up the tongue. They keep exploiting his death and making fun of it, you know. Despite my qualms about that, the segment involving Punk in the urn was kind of funny tonight. Punk, in my mind, delivered another pipe bomb, saying, of course, that he will be the one in 20-1. He doesn't look to a higher power. He is God. He said that a few weeks ago about him being God. And he was, like, playing around with the urn. You know, like, imagine this pop can is like the urn that Punk was using. It was like, you know, like, you know, talking about stuff. It was like, and then he was like, oh shit! That was kind of weird, but funny. You know, like I said, despite my qualms about bitching about Paul Bearer's death being exploited by WWE, that was kind of funny in the odd moment. So, so there you go. Punk delivers another pipe bomb, and this feud is gonna be interesting. You know, the way it's being built, I think it's gonna be great. And I know they're trying to hype up Cena Rock, you know, by airing the same fucking promo they did last week, because Rock's not there again. You know, they're not talking about Punk and they're not talking about Rock and Cena too. We want to talk about Punk and Taker. So there you go. Punk delivers another pipe bomb in a funny moment involving the own. Distasteful or not, tasteless or not, it was kind of funny. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer, though. No disrespect intended, as Punk would say. Now, on with the next match, which was involving the World Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio. And from what I found out, the fans were dead on their hands. And by the way, they remixed Alberto's song. Wow. Then I kind of like added a faster beat to it and more drums to it. It's kind of a weird version of that song, but eventually, it wasn't Alberto's match first. Yeah, but I'll discuss it anyway. It's out of order, but I'll just talk about Alberto and Cody Rhodes before I get to the real next match, which was Kane and Daniel Bryan taking on Primo and Epico. Especially after the whole takeover segment with Punk. That kind of got Kane whooped. And I'll actually talk about that match first. Kane and Daniel Bryan against Primo and Epico. Kane was indeed very fired up and ready to beat on anybody, especially after what happened with just what he saw involving Punk and Taker. And Daniel Bryan quickly tagged in to try to get Kane settled. And Kane got tagged in. It was an okay match. Primo and Epico had some great offense. They did isolate Daniel in the corner for a while. Some great double team moves until Kane got the hot tag. And as Kane got the hot tag, here comes AJ trying to distract Kane and Daniel Bryan. I think, and we saw what happened later on tonight, but it kind of planted the seed for a possible tag match, which indeed would come to tonight, involving Daniel Bryan and Kane taking on Big E and Ziggy. Dolph Ziggler. Because we saw Ziggler beat up Daniel Bryan last week on Raw and beat Kane on SmackDown, with of course helping Big E and AJ. And AJ kind of stormed around, trying to distract Kane and Daniel Bryan from their match. But despite the distraction, Kane got the choke slam on Epico and a 1-2-3 victory for Team Hell No. Would they try to confront Big E and Ziggy? We would all find out later on tonight. Now, on to that match I was talking about, Cody Rhodes against Alberto Del Rio. It was kind of weird that they kind of, like I said, they kind of remixed Alberto's theme. And from what I found out, the fans have not been responding well to Alberto. I heard they kind of placed a Alberto Del Rio sign before the match. So that's why you heard like the whole crowd saying when Alberto ring announcer Ricardo said like Alberto, trying to make the crowd sing it as loud as they can. Cause you saw Ricardo like Alberto. You know the crowd was kind of lively dead. And we would see what would happen, especially when Jack Swagger would try to get involved. But this was a pretty good matchup for the second hour. There was a decent spot involving Cody Rhodes took advantage big time. I wish Cody Rhodes was pushed a lot better as singles or tag, whether it's him, like I said, singles or tagging with Sandow, of course, having his love stash, baby love stash, baby love stash. I I saw it on Twitter on WWE's active app, and I had no choice but to parody Love Shack by BB2s to do Love Stash, Love Shack. Kids, look that song up if you don't know it. Anyway, you probably heard on the radio. Anyway, Cody Rhodes had great offense. He looked very good against the champ. And there was one great spot when Cody was trying to suplex Alberto, and Alberto kind of countered it with a little move off the top with Cody landing face first, like chest and face first, and Alberto falling at the same time. Of course, Alberto had a leg injury sustained by being attacked by Jack Swagger on main event Thursday. And like Cody was really attacking that knee, really taking advantage of that injury. But despite Cody's advantage, Alberto kept fighting back, and despite the lack of crowd reaction, Alberto, of course, got a big kick in, tried to pin Cody. Cody kicked out, but didn't get the cross-arm breaker. Cody tapping out. And as Alberto was celebrating the victory, here comes Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter in tall, beating the crap out of Alberto. Focusing once again on knee, ramming Alberto, flying him across the announcer's task. But of course, Alberto got back up, beat up Swagger some more, and was waiting to get his hands all over Zeb Coulter. That's when Swagger attacked again and sent Alberto knocked out across the ring post, of course, running across the announce table. And with Alberto laid out, Ricardo was helpless. So Swagger got the Patriot lock on Ricardo Rodriguez, breaking his ankle storyline-wise. And while that was going on, you heard this chant, USA! USA! Swagger should be the face, not Alberto. You know, this whole Tea Party thing is kind of weird. Like, you think Canada's bizarre land? I think Pittsburgh's now bizarre land by chanting USA to Swagger. Now, Ricardo, I think like a few months ago when Alberto turned face, I was kind of like skeptical about Alberto making his face turn. I said, great heels don't become great faces. They kind of ruin their careers. Look at Doink's career. He was ruined after he turned face. Orton, same problem. And Alberto, I like him as a face guy, but I don't think the fans are getting into him. I think Alberto should be heel again. He was a great heel with the announcing, with the calls, with the fireworks. It just feels weird as a face. Sheamus is a decent face, though, but Alberto's a face. He still has a lot to prove. Fans are okay with him, but not as much as WWE want him to. So there you go. Alberto, with lack of reaction, gets the victory over Cody Rhodes in a decent matchup by one of only two really good long matches on Raw tonight. There wasn't really squashes, although it kind of was, but a long one anyway. With, of course, Alberto getting attacked by Jack after the match, and Alberto's ring announcer Ricardo being put in the Patriot lock, of course, adding more tension and more fuel to the fire in this feud. Now on to our next match, which was a tag team affair involving Randy Orton and Sheamus, off-mentioned guys, taking on not the Shield, but the 3MB, two members of the 3MB, Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater. Is Orton ever going to turn heel? I've said that numerous times, but I bet you, like I said last week, it's going to be no, because WWE's too fucking scared. Anyway, another big squasher. You know, anybody against a 3MB is a squash. You know, because you know 3MB is going to lose. Sheamus beat the crap out of Drew McIntyre a lot. And of course, the ending was, of course, Sheamus delivering bro kicks to everybody, with Orton delivering the RKO to Slater, and the Orton dominated Slater. Then later have the matchup 1, 2, 3, kind of a squash tag team match with Sheamus and Orton standing tall, and of course heading towards their 6-man tag, with of course Ryback being taken out for whatever stupid reason. Like I said, the stupid reason of them doing it to make him wrestle more cleanly, the way they infiltrated Ryback and put him in a match, then take him out to put against Mark Henry, like I said in the beginning, was kind of stupid. So as Ryback and not Ryback, but Sheamus and Orton was standing tall, I think I've watched more Michael Cole tonight. Almost. Anyway, as Sheamus and Orton were celebrating, here comes the Shield coming from the crowd, ready to feast on Orton and Sheamus. But, well, here comes the Big Show, the man that we thought was going to be the third man in the team against with Sheamus and Orton. But Ryback chosen instead. Now that Ryback is out, like I said, stupidly taken out. The way he was taken out was stupid. That's what I meant to say. The baseball can't be the way it was taken out like that. Announced and taken out was kind of stupid. But Big Show came out trying to even the odds, and Shield was too scared to get in. So it's kind of like almost unofficial now, but it probably will be official. With Big Show pointing at the sign in Mania, it will be Big Show teaming up with Sheamus and Orton against the Shield at Mania. Speaking of a match in Mania, a match I kind of mentioned that the scene was planted with AJ coming out during Kane and Daniel Bryan's match was fully achieved during our next match with, as I mentioned last week, the Black Zack Ryder, Kofi Kingston. And if you missed my review last week, I called Kofi Kingston the Black Zack Ryder because, like Zack Ryder, Kofi had a big push, but has done nothing much since that big push. And has been demoted down to the bottom of the barrel like Ryder. That's why I call him the Zack Ryder Black version. Because they're both like almost in the same situation. And once again, Kofi got squashed by Dolph Ziggler. Is he ever going to cash in Money in the Bank? I keep asking the same questions every week. Is Orton going to turn here? Is Dolph ever going to cash in Money in the Bank? He should be a champion a long fucking time ago. Or he may be a champion. A tag champion. Anyway, it was an okay matchup between Kofi and Ziggler. Kofi tried his best with his own area maneuvers. But with a little help from Biggie and AJ, Ziggler got the victory. Kofi was ready to deliver the Trump in Paradise after a boot drop. AJ distracted the referee. And as Kofi was going to fly all over Ziggler, he flew across the apron and got nailed midair by Biggie Langston. Kind of like a knockout punch to the gut. And with Kofi knocked out, Dolph carried his lifeless carcass back into the ring, delivered a leg move, and of course, 1, 2, 3, Dolph Ziggler gets the victory, like I said, with help from Biggie Langston and AJ. As they were celebrating, here comes D-Boy and Kane challenging Ziggler and Biggie Langston to a match, tag match. AJ's like, put the titles up at Mania. So the match, I knew that the scene was planned when AJ came out earlier, is achieved. It's official now. Team Hell No will defend the tag titles against Dolph Ziggler, Ziggy and Biggie. I like that team name. Ziggy and Biggie sitting in a tree. You fill in the blanks. Anyway, so it'll be Ziggy and Biggie, Team Hell No, World Tag Team titles at the WrestleMania pay-per-view. It'll be Biggie's first real match in the WWE. We've seen Biggie interfere in a lot of matches. We get to see Biggie actually kind of wrestle. Or he's going to pull a Fandango. No, I'm kidding. I don't think he's going to pull a Fandango and not wrestle if you don't pronounce Biggie Langston right. There's only one way to say it. You don't find Fandango. There's different ways to say it. Anyway, I don't want to get into that game. So there you go. Ziggler wins. Ziggy Biggie. Hell No. Tag titles. Mania. And before we get on to our main event tonight, new name added to the WWE Hall of Fame, as I mentioned. Some would say questionable pick, but I think it's somewhat deserved. Joining Trish Stratus, Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, Mick Foley, and Donald Trump at the WWE Hall of Fame. Five-time WCW champion, King Booker T. Yes, Booker T is going in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Like I said, some would be scratching their heads on that. You know, some think Booker T should be in it. I know it's like, you won't let Macho Man in for whatever reason, where it's backstage shit involving Lanny Poffo, yet Booker T's in. But I think Booker's deserved. You know, Booker's a great character. He's a great, entertaining wrestler. You know, doing his 1-0-3 when he should have won the World Championship in WrestleMania 19 against Triple H. When he was on that wall, and when people really loved him, when he was really at the peak of his popularity, he was the best. When he was at the peak of his popularity in WWE, around 2002 and 3, teaming up with those funny skits with Goldust, being very entertaining, and a decent wrestler. And of course, currently the GM of SmackDown. So there you go, Booker T, newest member of the WWE Hall of Fame, class of 2013. On to our main event, which I'm kind of glad it was the main event tonight. I said it was one of the best main events in a while, besides Punk and Cena, of course. Now, it's good to Cena Punk, but still. The ending was kind of weird, though. To that in a moment. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Wade Barrett defending the title against Chris Jericho and Miz. Wow, this was a great match. I knew these three were going to put on a great match, and they did. It was very high. It was high start from the beginning. It was like fast start, high paced, fast paced action. Like you couldn't. There was so much shit going on. There was like the Tower Do move. One guy had the advantage most of the time. Like it was like back and forth. A lot of action, great spots. Great near fall, especially when it came down to Jericho and Miz for the later half of the matchup when it became one-on-one between them two. It was great between them. We've countered the channel to the Cold Breaker and the Skull Crushing finale, which of course became the finale of the match. And of course, Walter Jericho, a lot of great counters, great moves, fast-paced action, great match. The ending was kind of screwy though. As Miz was trying to finish off Jericho, Miz did get the Skull Crushing finale on Jericho. And as Miz was going for the pin, Wade Barrett, who was already taken out earlier, of course, Miz and Jericho focused on double teaming Barrett, making him a non-factor in the match. But Barrett got back in after Miz delivered a skull crushing finale, ready to pin Jericho. But like I said, Barrett came from behind, pinned the Miz, walled him up. 1, 2, 3, we retained the title. Kind of a silly, screwy way for Barrett to retain the title without doing nothing. Kind of like stealing the victory. Ultimate opportunist. What do you want to call him? So there you go. Wade Barrett retained the kind of a screwy way, but a great match though. Great match though for the Intercontinental Championship. Kind of glad the IC title was a main event for once. First time you see IC title main event war in a long time. Now, despite that main event, we had of course the last segment involving Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Of course, Triple H wants Lesnar, and Heyman said you'll get Lesnar if and only if you sign this contract and agree to the stipulations that we make. And I thought it was be like Triple H is going to delay the decision, but he went straight to the contract signing with Triple H coming out, calling Lesnar out, but it was Heyman, of course, coming out with security. Talk about this, about this whole thing. It's just me. It was Paul Heyman wearing a wig because when Paul Heyman was going through these stipulations, because Triple H wanted to sign that contract no matter what. He wanted that contract signed, and Paul Heyman was going through these silly scenarios for the stipulation, saying, how about win against Stephanie? Or lose against Stephanie? That's when Triple H lost it, tried to beat up Heyman. Security came in, and Triple H beat up security. And as Triple H was ready to beat up Heyman, which he did, he tore his shirt off, tore his jacket off. And I think he has got fake hair, his hair went out of place or whatever, and Triple H signed the contract. He wanted Lesnar out there, and Lesnar came out with a steel chair following Triple H finally signed a contract, so Triple H agreed to it. We'd find out the stipulations in a moment. But as Lesnar came out with a chair, Triple H pulled out from the contract table a sledgehammer. Heyman held Lesnar off. He backed Lesnar away. Wait till Mania. So indeed, as Lesnar stood on the steps, Heyman, who Lesnar let pick the stipulations, said that this match is the match that I predicted, that I thought was going to happen, the match that should be between these two. It should be a no-holds-barred match. A regular wrestling match would be boring between these two. Anyone saw the SummerSlam match? Snore fast. So it's no-holds-barred match, no anything goes. It'd be a fight. It's not going to be a match. It'd be more like a fight. And they added one more little stipulation in there with not just the no-holds-barred stipulation, but Triple H's career is on the line. That means if Triple H loses, he goes bye-bye. Triple H has been teased retirement. Some of you, I hate to admit this, I hope Brock Lesnar wins. Because I want Triple H to retire. I like Triple H and all. I like Triple H. He's a great guy, but he needs to step away from wrestling. Unless he wants to come back like once a year like Taker does. Like him and Taker, like the oldest guys left. And they're not good for full-time anymore. They should be part-time guys. Taker may not never retire for a while, but I think Triple H should in my mind. But probably Triple H will steal the victory like Cena will against The Rock in my mind, despite my fears. My qualms about Cena Rock too. Anyway, so there you go. Triple H signs the contract. Triple H Brock Lesnar the match that's gonna suck. It's gonna happen at Mania as I feared. but it's going to be the match I kind of predicted it was going to be. No holds barred, and Triple H's career is on the line. That was my Raw review for tonight. Crowd was iffy, you know. It was okay Raw, kind of a mixed bag tonight for Raw. Good things, a lot more bad things than good, though. Despite great things involving Punk, the great IC title match, the funny skit with the part-time players. So, hopefully Raw can come back next week and have two great Raws before Mania. That is it for my WWE Raw review for tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you have all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you all later. Yeah, and happy post St. Patty's Day, everybody.